All right, Den of Thieves, Pantera, the second Den of Thieves movie. The first one came out in 2018. This is written and directed by Christian Gujast. I probably didn't say that right. And I don't remember if he did the first one or not. But I saw that 2018 one, and I thought it was pretty good. I liked the heist. I liked the characters for the most part. And I found it really entertaining. I had fun with it. Do I think that that movie should have gotten a sequel? No. Was I expecting a sequel, especially this many years later? Absolutely not. But we got it, so here it is. So it's continuing the first movie. In that first movie, Nick was the cop that was going after the crew that was pulling off this heist. They end up stealing from, I believe it was the Federal Reserve Bank, and it was a bunch of money that was going to get shredded anyway, so there's no real record of it. The feds aren't looking for it, things like that. And Donnie, played by O'Shea Jackson Jr., turned out to be turned out to be the person actually behind it all. And so he ended up getting away and leaving the country and everything like that with the money. So Gerard Butler's character, Nick, he ends up really wanting to go after him, but he's not really able to because the feds aren't looking for the money. And obviously Donnie is in another country, so he doesn't have jurisdiction. He somehow is able to get permission to go over to get him, and he tracks him down to France. And so he tells him, I want to in on this heist that you're doing. Basically, cop gone criminal, and he's going to find his way to get into the crew and be part of this heist. And the heist in this is a diamond store, a diamond place. I wasn't completely sure. They called it something. I can't remember what it was called. But they're trying to rob the lockbox that's in this safe in this place. And there's also some other things going on they have to deal with, but it's mainly about that. I like this movie. I think it's good. I think it's a little bit better than the first movie. Has a lot of the same issues though. I definitely have some things that I could criticize here, but we'll get to that stuff. Performances I think are really good, especially by Gerard Butler and O'Shea Jackson Jr. And I think they're the best characters in this. Their dynamic works. Them reuniting and hashing over things from the first movie and forming a bond. There's even a scene where they go into their backstories and things like that. You believe it. You see these guys as friends even after everything that happened in that first movie, and it really adds to your investment in them because while they're doing the heist, you really are concerned for them. The tension really works because you end up really liking and caring for these two. And I think the movie looks good. I think all the action is done well and it's really entertaining. There's firefights and chases and things like that, and those all work. But the main thing that really got me with this was the heist. I think it's far-fetched. I think it's kind of dumb. I don't think it fits with any kind of reality. But it's basically they have to steal from this lockbox and do all this. But this place is real locked down, and the security guards are always on it, and it seems impossible to get in and out without being seen. They have all these live feeds, camera feeds, and they they pretty much have covered everywhere. But the feeds only feed into a monitor that only shows 4 feeds at a time, so they have to cycle after a certain amount of time. So they use that to plan out when they're going to be at what part and things like that. Plan out to where they're going to be on the monitor and actually be seen by the security guards and when they're not going to be. And that really is, I think, well done. It really adds to the tension. And obviously, when certain things happen, when things go wrong, when things don't go to plan, which obviously always happens here, I was legitimately concerned. I thought it was tense. I thought it worked. I was entertained pretty much the whole way through during the heist part of this movie. As far as problems, we can start off with a smaller one, but definitely is distracting. O'Shea Jackson Jr. has to do this French accent, talking to French people, and it does not work. That was one of the things people criticized with the first movie, but it's really only at the end where he has the accent after he gets away. But here, there's multiple times where he has to put on this French accent with these people, and seeing him do it, and it feels like they know that it's not good because he starts to get less and less invested in, I guess, making it sound authentic because as it goes on, it sounds worse and like he's putting less effort into it. But seeing him give this accent that's very obviously bad and do it to French people and having them go along with it, it's like, okay, this is clown show. It is ridiculous. It was taking me out of it pretty much every time. It was really distracting. But That aside, which is a smaller thing, but still an issue, the 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 big thing here, or big things, and they go hand in hand. It's the same with the first movie, is that there's too much going on and it's too fucking long. It's way too long. Like it is. They got so much going on and it's so long that it does drag in places, especially leading up to the heist. Obviously, we got to plan the heist. Obviously, we got to give the details and stuff like that. I don't think there's enough of that in there because there's so much going on. And I thought that with the first movie too. With this movie, you got Donnie and Nick reuniting and rehashing the first movie and connecting and things like that. But then you also have the other characters of the crew. There's two people in the crew that they have conflict with that turns into something. And that was probably the main thing that I was like, okay, you guys can get rid of this. This doesn't need to be here. The people that Donnie robbed with the crew in the beginning, they have issues. There's conflict there. It feels like it's too much when you should just be mainly focusing on Donnie and Nick and this heist. The ending was already pretty weak. I didn't think the ending was all that good, but it ends. It seems like multiple times because there's a thing that happens and then it keeps going and then it keeps going and then it keeps going and I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm ready to go home. This ending doesn't really feel all that good. I was thinking, wow, that's it, but that's the way you're gonna end this. Well, okay then, disappointing. But the big thing was it just wouldn't end, and it was already going on for so long. Like, okay, I like the heist you just did, but it's time to wrap this up. And the theater I was in was freezing cold. It's cold in Texas. It has been for a little bit. Both the last times I've gone to the theater has been about as cold as it is outside. It is a horror. It was horrible sitting through that and just being like, man, I really want to go. I really want to go. I really want to go. I'm gonna give this a good enough. The same thing I gave the first movie, even though I think this one's a little bit better. I enjoy the heist. I like Nick and Donnie and O'Shea Jackson Jr. and Gerard Butler. I think they have a really good dynamic and some good chemistry on screen. And I really liked the heist and I had a really good time and I was entertained for most of it. But there were times where it definitely dragged and it was too long and I didn't like the ending. So there you go. That's Den of Thieves, Pantera. Good enough. Definitely better than the first. Still don't think it was all that necessary. But that's it. Subscribe and we're done.